I destroyed a billionaire's life. Or at least, that was the plan. That sounds awful, right? He took everything from my family, our business, our savings, my father's will to live. So I infiltrated his company, became his executive assistant, gained his trust, and I was going to burn his empire to the ground. There was just one problem. I fell in love with him. This is the story of how revenge became the worst plan I ever made, and the best mistake of my life. My name is Isabella Moretti. 6 months ago, I had a life. My father, Marco Moretti, owned Moretti Manufacturing. Small company, 50 employees. We made precision components for medical devices, nothing glamorous. But honest work, good work. We'd been in business for 23 years. Lucian Crane destroyed us in 3 months. It started with the contracts. Our biggest clients, hospitals, medical supply companies, started canceling orders. No explanation, just going in a different direction. Then the suppliers raised prices. Materials we'd been buying for years suddenly cost triple. My father tried everything, negotiated, called in favors, took out loans, nothing worked. 6 weeks later, we discovered why. Lucian Crane, CEO of Crane Industries. Billionaire. 34 years old. Built his fortune acquiring struggling companies and restructuring them, which was corporate speak for gutting them and selling the pieces. He'd wanted our patents, medical device technology my father had spent 15 years developing. But my father wouldn't sell, so Crane orchestrated our destruction instead. He bought out our clients and offered them better rates if they went exclusive with his subsidiary companies. He bought our suppliers, raised our costs to unsustainable levels. He waited for us to collapse. Then he bought Moretti Manufacturing for pennies on the dollar at bankruptcy auction, got the patents he wanted, fired all 50 employees, shut down the facility, all to acquire technology worth maybe $10 million to a man worth $3 billion. It was efficient, ruthless, legal, and it killed my father. The funeral. Marco Moretti died of a heart attack 8 weeks after losing his company. The doctors said it was cardiovascular disease, stress, high blood pressure. I knew the truth. It was a broken heart. He'd built that company from nothing, immigrant from Italy, came to America at 20 with $200 in his pocket, worked factory jobs for 10 years, unsaved every penny. Started Moretti Manufacturing in a garage, grew it, hired people, made a difference. It was his legacy, his proof that hard work mattered, that integrity meant something. Lucian Crane took that away. At the funeral, I stood beside my mother. She'd aged 10 years in 2 months, gray streaks in her black hair, lines around her eyes that hadn't been there before. "What will you do now?" Aunt Maria asked. "I don't know," I lied. I knew exactly what I was going to do. I was going to destroy Lucian Crane the way he'd destroyed us. The plan. I spent 2 weeks researching. Crane Industries was massive. Real estate, manufacturing, tech investments, hotels, a billion-dollar empire built on aggressive acquisitions. Lucian Crane himself was surprisingly private. No social media, rare interviews. Now he let his business speak for itself. What I learned? He was brilliant. Stanford MBA. Built his first company at 25. Sold it for $500 million. Used that to start Crane Industries. He was ruthless. 14 companies acquired in 9 years. Most shut down after he stripped the valuable assets. He was single, no public relationships, occasional charity gala appearances, always alone. He worked constantly, 18-hour days, no vacations, no hobbies beyond work. He had one weakness. He couldn't keep executive assistants. His previous 5 had all quit within months. Too demanding, impossible standards, never satisfied. That was my opening. I researched everything about being an executive assistant, took online courses, learned his industry, memorized his company structure. I created a perfect resume. that fictional work history at companies that had been acquired or dissolved, references I'd prepared in advance. And I applied. The interview. 2 weeks later, I sat in the waiting room outside Lucian Crane's office. 42nd floor, floor-to-ceiling windows, minimalist design. Everything black, white, and chrome. Intimidating. Designed to be. "Mr. Crane will see you now." I walked into his office and saw him for the first time in person. Photos didn't do him justice. Tall, maybe 6'2", dark hair styled perfectly, sharp features, gray-blue eyes that look like they could see through you. Expensive suit, tailored perfectly. Watch that probably cost more than my father's final hospital bills. He was handsome. Objectively, frustratingly, I hated him immediately. "Ms. Moretti." He gestured to the chair across from his desk. Please sit." He knew my last name. Had he recognized it? No. His expression showed nothing, just professional assessment. "Your resume is impressive," he said, scrolling through it on his tablet. "Executive assistant to the CFO at Morrison & Hayes. 3 years. Excellent references." Morrison & Hayes had been acquired by a larger firm 2 years ago. The CFO I claimed to work for had retired. Untraceable. "Thank you, Mr. Crane." "Why did you leave?" "The company culture changed after the acquisition. I prefer working for entrepreneurs. People who build things rather than maintain them." His eyebrow raised slightly. "I acquire companies. I don't build them." "You build an empire. That's different from maintaining someone else's vision." "Is that flattery or observation?" "Observation. I research before interviews. Crane Industries has grown 40% in 3 years. That's building." He leaned back, studying me. "My previous assistants found me difficult to work with. Demanding, particular. I work long hours. I expect the same from my team. Does that concern you?" "No. I prefer demanding. It means the work matters." "What makes you think you can succeed where 5 others failed?" "Because I'm not intimidated by high standards. And I don't need you to like me. I need you to respect my work." Something flickered in his eyes. Surprise? Interest? Most people try to be likable in interviews. Most people aren't qualified for this position. I am. The question is whether you're willing to hire someone who'll tell you when you're wrong. I'm rarely wrong. Then it won't be an issue. He almost smiled. Almost. "When can you start?" "Wait, are you offering me the position? Unless you're turning it down." I'd gotten in. First step complete. "I can start Monday. Tomorrow, 7 a.m., don't be late." He turned back to his computer, dismissing me. I stood, walked to the door. "Ms. Moretti?" I turned. "Don't try to flatter me. It doesn't work. What works is competence. Show me you're as good as you claim." "I will." I left his office. In the elevator, my hands were shaking. Phase 1. Complete. I was in. Now came the hard part. Are you still watching? You wouldn't want to miss what happens next. Let's get back into the story. The first week. Day 1. 6:55 a.m. I arrived at Crane Industries 5 minutes early. Lucian was already there. Of course he was. "Ms. Moretti, good, come in." His office was immaculate, not a paper out of place. Coffee already made. 3 monitors displaying different data streams. He'd been here for hours. "Your primary responsibilities," he said without preamble. "Manage my calendar, screen calls and emails, prepare briefing documents for meetings, coordinate with department heads, anticipate needs before I have to ask." Understood. I don't repeat myself. I don't tolerate mistakes. I don't accept excuses. If you can't do something, tell me immediately so I can find someone who can. I can do everything you've listed. We'll see. He handed me a tablet. Today's schedule: 18 meetings, 3 conference calls, 2 site visits, dinner with investors at 8. You'll accompany me to take notes. 18 meetings. Jesus. I'll need access to files, company records, previous meeting notes. Already done. Your credentials are active. Of course they were. The day was brutal. Lucian moved through meetings like a machine. Sharp, focused, no wasted words. He noticed everything. A discrepancy in a financial report. An employee's attitude shift. A client's hesitation before agreeing to terms. And he expected me to notice too. Why did Henderson pause before signing? He asked after a contract negotiation. He's concerned about the exclusivity clause. He didn't say it, but he kept glancing at paragraph 7. And? You could offer a modified clause. Exclusivity for core products, but flexibility for ancillary markets. He gets what he needs. But you maintain primary control. Lucian looked at me. Really looked. That's exactly right. Call him. Propose the modification. By 8 p.m., we were at Le Bernardin, meeting with venture capital investors about a new tech acquisition. I sat beside Lucian, taking notes, observing. Watching him work was like watching a predator hunt. He identified what people wanted, what they feared, what would make them agree. Then he gave them just enough to feel like they'd won, while getting everything he actually wanted. It was brilliant, ruthless, effective. I hated that I was impressed. After the investors left, Lucian leaned back. You did well today. Thank you. Most assistants don't last past day 3. They can't keep pace. I'm not most assistants. No, you're not. He looked at me. Something in his expression shifted. Why do you really want this job, Ms. Moretti? My heart stopped. Did he know? I told you. I prefer working for... That's the interview answer. What's the real one? I met his eyes. Careful. I need to prove something, to myself, that I can operate at this level, that I belong in rooms like this. Not entirely a lie. And do you belong? Yes? Then prove it, every day. He stood. Tomorrow, 6:30 a.m. We have an acquisition meeting in Boston. Pack overnight. We're flying out at 7. I don't have clothes. There's a corporate account. Buy what you need. Charge it. Consider it part of compensation. He walked away, left me sitting there, wondering how I was supposed to destroy a man who kept surprising me. Week 2. The Boston trip. Private jet. Of course. Lucian worked the entire flight. I prepped briefing documents. Now tell me about the company we're acquiring, he said without looking up. Hartley Tech, software development, specialized in AI-driven logistics optimization. Annual revenue $12 million. Profitable but cash poor. Founders want to sell before larger competitors crush them. Why are we buying them? The algorithm. It's years ahead of competitors. Acquiring them is cheaper than developing equivalent tech in-house. What's the risk? The founders. They're emotionally attached. They might sabotage integration if they feel we're destroying their vision. He looked up. How would you handle that? Keep them on for 2 years. Equity stakes. Let them maintain creative control over core development. Make them feel like partners, not casualties. That's expensive. Less expensive than losing the talent that makes the acquisition valuable. He smiled. Actually smiled. You think like an operator, not an assistant. I think like someone who understands what makes businesses succeed. Where did you learn that? Careful. My father, he ran a small manufacturing business, taught me that people matter more than spreadsheets. Your father was wrong. Spreadsheets matter. People are variables. Then why do you want to keep Hartley's founders? If people are just variables? He paused. Because some variables are irreplaceable. The meeting went exactly as I'd predicted. The founders were defensive, protective of their company. Lucian could have crushed them, forced the sale on his terms. Instead, he did what I'd suggested. Offered partnership, equity, control, and they signed. Afterward, in the car back to the airport, he was quiet. "You were right," he said finally. "About what?" "The founders. They needed to feel valued, not acquired. Your original approach would have worked too. Just slower, more expensive, but less elegant." I looked at him. "You care about elegance?" "I care about efficiency. Elegance is efficient. No wasted effort, no unnecessary casualties." "Is that why you shut down companies after acquiring them? Efficiency?" His jaw tightened. "I shut down companies that are already failing. I extract value before it's completely lost. That's not destruction. That's salvage. Tell that to the employees who lose their jobs. I don't owe failed businesses my charity. I owe my shareholders returns." "What about the people who built those businesses? Don't you owe them anything?" "No, not they failed. That's not my responsibility." I wanted to scream. He was talking about my father, about Moretti Manufacturing. "What if they didn't fail?" I said carefully. "What if they were sabotaged? Business isn't fair. If you can't protect what you built, you don't deserve to keep it. That's brutal. That's reality." I turned away, looked out the window, reminded myself why I was here. He'd destroyed my father without remorse. I would do the same to him. Month 1, the cracks. But working with Lucian every day made it complicated. He was demanding, impossible, exhausting. He was also brilliant, perceptive, and occasionally almost human. Like the morning he noticed I hadn't eaten. "When did you last have a meal?" he asked during our 9 a.m. meeting. "Yesterday, lunch." "It's almost noon. You've been here since 6:30. "I've been busy." He pressed a button on his desk. "Jennifer, order lunch for Ms. Moretti and myself, from that Italian place she likes." I stared. "How do you know what I like?" "You mentioned it once. 3 weeks ago. I pay attention." The food arrived. Pasta. Perfect. "Eat," he commanded. "You're no use to me if you collapse." "That's the only reason? My usefulness?" "What other reason would there be?" But he watched me eat, made sure I finished. And I realized he cared. Not about me, necessarily, but about the people who worked for him. In his own controlling, impossible way. Or there was the night we worked until 2 a.m. on a merger proposal. I was exhausted, making mistakes. "Go home," he said finally. "I'm fine." "You're not. You've corrected the same typo 3 times. Go home, sleep, and come back at 9 instead of 7. You'll still be here at 7. That's my choice. I'm not requiring it of you." "Why not? You require everything else." He looked at me, really looked. "Because you're the best assistant I've ever had, and I don't want to burn you out like the others. I'm not like the others." "No, you're not." Something passed between us. Brief. Electric. I left before I could analyze it. The investigation. But I couldn't forget my mission. Late nights I stayed after Lucian left. Accessed files, found the acquisition records, including Moretti Manufacturing. Read everything. The strategy had been exactly what I'd suspected. Systematic destruction, client poaching, supplier manipulation, all legal, all documented. But there was something else. Notes from Lucian. Personal observations. Moretti Manufacturing. Solid patents. Outdated business model. Owner refuses to modernize. Will collapse within 18 months regardless of intervention. Accelerate timeline to prevent competitor acquisition. Marco Moretti meeting. Stubborn, prideful, won't accept partnership offer. Only option. Acquisition post-collapse. Partnership offer? I dug deeper, found emails, from Lucian to my father, 6 months before the destruction began. Mr. Moretti, I'd like to discuss a partnership. Crane Industries provides capital and distribution. You maintain operational control and receive 40% equity. Your patents, my resources. We build something bigger together. My father's response: I don't need your money or your partnership. Moretti Manufacturing is mine, built with my hands. I won't sell out to corporate vultures. I find someone else to prey on. Lucian's reply: I understand your pride, but pride won't protect you when larger competitors move in. This offer stands for 90 days. After that, I can't help you. My father never responded, and 3 months later, Lucian began the systematic dismantling. I stared at the emails. He'd tried to help. My father had refused. Everything I'd believed. What are you doing? I spun around. Lucian stood in the office doorway. At 11 p.m., when he should have been gone. I was caught, completely. I asked you a question, Ms. Moretti. What are you doing in my private files? The confrontation. My mind raced. Deny it? Impossible. I was literally on his computer accessing confidential files. Run? Where? He was blocking the door. Tell the truth? I was researching, I said. Researching what? Moretti Manufacturing. His expression didn't change, but his eyes sharpened. Why? This was it. The moment everything either ended or exploded. Because Marco Moretti was my father. Silence.
I can't pretend I'm not.
Lucian stood perfectly still, processing.
I know this.
Your resume said you worked at Morrison and Hayes. I lied. Your references? Fake, all of it. I fabricated my entire work history to get this job. Why? Because you destroyed my father's company. Because he had a heart attack 8 weeks after losing everything. Because I wanted to infiltrate your organization and burn it down from the inside. I waited for rage. For him to call security. To have me arrested. Instead, he walked to his desk. Sat down. How long have you been planning this? Since the funeral. And what have you found? In your investigation? Everything. The client poaching, the supplier manipulation, the systematic destruction. Illegal? No, but immoral. Immoral. He almost laughed. Your father refused a fair partnership offer. I gave him a chance. A chance to give up control of his life's work. A chance to save it. I would have provided capital, distribution, resources. He would have kept operational control. But his pride was more important. So you destroyed him instead? No. I let nature take its course. Larger competitors were moving into the medical device space. Your father's company was small, outdated, vulnerable. Without partnership or acquisition, he would have been crushed within 2 years anyway. I simply accelerated the timeline. You took away his hope. I took away his delusions. He was building buggy whips in the age of automobiles. And they're proud of honest work that was becoming obsolete. I offered him evolution. He chose extinction. I slammed my hands on the desk. He chose independence. He chose to build something on his own terms. And he failed. That's not my fault. You made sure he failed. I made sure I got what I needed before someone else did. This is business, Isabella, not personal. It was personal to him. It was his legacy, his proof that he mattered. Then he should have been smarter, adapted, accepted help when it was offered. We stood there, both breathing hard, furious. So what now? I asked. You call the police? Have me arrested for corporate espionage? Did you steal anything? Copy files? Share confidential information? No, not yet. Then there's nothing to arrest you for. Lying on a resume isn't criminal, just stupid. He stood. Ian walked to the window, looked out at the city. I should fire you. Why don't you? Because you're the best assistant I've ever had. Because you're brilliant and competent and you challenge me. Because despite your agenda, you've done excellent work. I was going to destroy you. Were you? Or were you going to try? He turned, looked at me. Isabella, I've been building empires since I was 25. Do you really think one angry daughter with a fabricated resume could take me down? I was going to try. I know. That's why I've been watching you. My stomach dropped. What? You think I didn't notice? The late nights? The file access? I've monitored every keystroke since week 2. You knew. This whole time. I suspected. Your last name was too common to be coincidence. So I investigated. Found Marco Moretti's daughter. Isabella. Art history degree. No corporate experience. Then you appeared with a perfect resume. Too perfect. Then why did you hire me? Because I was curious. What kind of person fabricates an entire work history for revenge? What would they do once they were inside? This was a game to you. No, this was a test. To see if you were as smart as you seemed. To see if you'd actually go through with it. And? You didn't. You had access to everything. You could have leaked financial data, stolen trade secrets, sabotaged deals, but you didn't. You worked, hard, brilliantly, like you actually cared about the job. I was establishing credibility. You were doing excellent work because you couldn't help yourself, because you're not actually capable of being mediocre, even when it's strategic. He walked closer. I've been waiting for you to make a move, to do something actually damaging, but you haven't. Want to know why? Why? Because you're not your father. You're smarter, more adaptable. You see the world as it actually is, not as you wish it was. Don't compare me to him. I'm complimenting you. Marco Moretti was stubborn and proud. You're strategic and pragmatic. He would have been offended by my partnership offer. You would have negotiated better terms. You don't know me. I've worked with you 12 hours a day for 6 weeks. I know exactly who you are. He was inches away now. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to stop pretending to be someone else. No more fake resume, no more revenge mission. You're going to work for me, openly, honestly. Why would I do that? Because you like this job. Because you're good at it. Because despite hating me, you respect the work we do. I don't respect, yes you do. I see it every time we close a deal. Every time we build something, you light up. This is what you're meant to do. My father is gone. And staying angry at me won't bring him back. But using your skills, building something that matters, that honors his memory better than revenge ever would. I hated that he was right. Hated that I'd started to enjoy the work. Hated that I looked forward to our morning strategy sessions. Hated that somewhere along the way, I'd stopped seeing him as the enemy. What about Moretti Manufacturing? I asked quietly. What about it? The patents, the technology my father developed. I still own them. Will you do anything with them? He was quiet for a long moment. Come with me. The warehouse? We drove for 40 minutes, out of Manhattan, into Queens, to a warehouse I recognized, Moretti Manufacturing, the building I'd grown up visiting, where my father had worked. It should have been dark, abandoned. Instead, lights were on. What is this? I asked. Lucian unlocked the door. Inside, the facility was running. Machines operating, people working, production lines active. You said you shut it down, I whispered. I shut down the corporate entity, dissolved Moretti Manufacturing as a company, but the facility, the technology, the patents. He led me through, to an office. On the door, Moretti Division, Crane Industries. I kept it running, upgraded the equipment, hired back 15 of the original employees, integrated your father's technology into our medical device subsidiary. Why? Because the patents were valuable. Because the technology worked. Because shutting down a functional operation is wasteful. I looked through the window, saw familiar faces, people who'd worked for my father. "Mr. Moretti's daughter," one of them called out. "Isabella." They waved. They looked happy. "They have better salaries now," Lucian said quietly. "Better benefits, health insurance, retirement plans, things your father couldn't afford to provide. He would have, if he'd had the resources." Exactly. That's what I offered him, and he refused. I watched the production floor. Machines building medical components. Technology my father had designed. His legacy, still alive, just under someone else's name. "I'm not the villain you wanted me to be," Lucian said. "I'm just a businessman who saw value and acquired it. Your father saw that as theft. I see it as preservation." He saw it as losing himself. Then he valued pride over survival. That's not sustainable. Not everything is about sustainability. Some things are about meaning, purpose, building something that's yours. I build things that are mine every day, and when they grow beyond me, I let others help. That's not weakness. That's intelligence. I turned to him. "You really don't understand, do you? Why he refused?" "Explain it to me." "Because he came from nothing. Because building that company himself proved he mattered. That he was more than just cheap immigrant labor. That he could create something permanent." And he did. This facility, this technology, it's permanent. It's just evolved beyond him. That's not the same. Why not? Because it's not his name on the door anymore. Does that matter? If the work continues? If the technology helps people? If his employees have better lives? Does the name on the door actually matter? I wanted to say yes, but looking at the production floor, at the people working, at the technology being used, maybe it didn't. Maybe my father's legacy wasn't the company name. Maybe it was this, the work, the impact. "Why did you show me this?" I asked. "Because you deserve to know the truth about what happened to your father's life work. And because..." He paused, struggled with something. "Because I'm tired of you hating me for something I'm not sorry for." "You're not sorry?" "No. I made the right business decision. But I am sorry your father died thinking he'd failed. He didn't. His work lives on, better funded, bigger reach, helping more people. Under your control. Under better management. Yes." He turned to face me fully. "Stay. Work for me. Not as fake Isabella Moretti with fabricated credentials. As real Isabella. The brilliant, argumentative, impossible woman who's made my company better in 6 weeks. And my revenge mission? Retire it. It was never going to work anyway. You're too ethical to actually destroy something functional." "You sound very certain." "I am, because I know you, Isabella. Better than you think." "What's my salary?" I asked. He named a figure, triple what I'd been making as his assistant. "That's what I'm offering. As executive director of strategic acquisitions, you'll vet companies, negotiate deals, ensure we're building. I'm not just destroying." "Why?" "Because you asked the right question about Hartley Tech, about keeping the founders engaged. That's a perspective I need. Someone who sees the human cost of business decisions." "I thought you didn't care about humans, just variables." "I'm learning that some variables are more valuable when they're engaged rather than just eliminated." He extended his hand. "Do we have a deal?" I looked at his hand. At the production floor. At my father's legacy, alive and thriving. At the man who destroyed my father's company but preserved his work. At the impossible choice between revenge and something else. I shook his hand. "We have a deal." The new beginning. Monday morning, 7 a.m. I arrived at my new office, not an assistant's desk, an actual office. Glass walls, city view, director level. On my desk, files for 3 potential acquisitions, and a note from Lucian. Evaluate these. Tell me which is worth pursuing. I want full strategic analysis by Friday. Don't hold back. Elsie. I smiled despite myself. This was a test. Obviously. He wanted to see if I could actually do what he'd hired me for. I spent 4 days analyzing. Company 1, tech startup, promising AI. But founders were inexperienced, high risk. Company 2, manufacturing facility, profitable but stagnant. Easy acquisition, low reward. Company 3, biotech research lab, brilliant team, chaotic management, high risk, massive potential. Friday morning, I presented to Lucian. Company 3, I said, the biotech lab. Explain. Company 1 is too risky. The AI is impressive, but the founders don't understand business fundamentals. They'll collapse within a year, with or without us. Company 2 is safe, but boring. We'd make modest returns, but we're not in the business of modest. Company 3 is messy. The lab is chaotic. The researchers are brilliant, but terrible at operations. But their cancer research is genuinely breakthrough. If we acquire, stabilize operations, and let them focus on science, we could bring treatment to market 3 years ahead of competitors. The risk. Research might fail. We'd lose the investment. And it's worth it. Because if it works, we save lives and make billions. If it fails, we've still supported important research. Lucian leaned back. You're willing to risk capital on might work? I'm willing to risk capital on breakthrough potential. That's different than gambling. How? Gambling is random chance. This is calculated risk with extraordinary upside. And even if the research fails, we've built relationships with some of the best minds in biotech. That has value beyond immediate returns. He smiled. When can you start due diligence? I already have. Team is assembled. We can have preliminary findings by next week. You assembled a team without authorization? You told me not to hold back. I didn't. He laughed. Actually laughed. You're going to be trouble. You hired me for that. I did. He stood. Lunch, 1 p.m. We need to discuss your approach to the founders. Is that a business lunch or what else would it be? But something in his eyes suggested it wasn't entirely business. The growing attraction. We fell into a rhythm. Morning strategy sessions, afternoon negotiations, evening debriefs. We worked well together. Too well. He anticipated my arguments. I countered his logic. We pushed each other, made each other better. You're wrong, I said during a negotiation strategy meeting. Explain. You want to lowball the biotech lab, force them to accept our terms. But they're scientists. They care about impact more than money. Lowballing insults them. Then what do you suggest? Offer full value, but structure it as partnership. They get resources and stability. We get access to their research. Make them feel valued. That's more expensive. Short-term, long-term engaged partners produce better results than resentful acquisitions. He considered. Fine. We'll try it your way. The biotech founders loved the approach, signed within a week. You were right, Lucian admitted. Mark the calendar. Lucian Crane admits he was wrong. I said you were right, not that I was wrong. What's the difference? My approach would have worked. Yours worked better. There's a distinction. But he was smiling. These moments were becoming more frequent. Smiles, jokes, actual humanity. He showed up at my apartment one Saturday with coffee. What are you doing here? I asked. We have the biotech site visit at 9. I thought we could review strategy. It's 7 a.m. on a Saturday. And? I let him in. We reviewed strategy for 20 minutes, then talked about everything else for 2 hours. His childhood. Raised by a single mother who worked 3 jobs. Scholarship to Stanford. Building his first company in a garage. I wasn't always a billionaire, he said quietly. I was the kid who wore the same jeans to school every day. Who ate cafeteria food because it was free? Who understood that poverty wasn't romantic? It was exhausting. Is that why you're so focused on returns, on efficiency? Because I know what it's like to have nothing, and I never want to go back. I understood, more than I wanted to. My father was the same. Immigrant mentality. Work yourself to death to prove you belong. Did he? Belong? Yes, until you made him feel like he didn't. Lucian was quiet. I offered him partnership, safety. He refused. Because safety felt like surrender. Even when surrender would have saved him? Especially then. Pride was all he had left. Pride is expensive. I couldn't afford it. Had to learn to swallow it. And now? Now I don't need pride. I have proof. Proof of what? That I'm not the poor kid anymore. That I built something that matters. And Moretti Manufacturing? Did destroying my father's pride prove something? He flinched. I didn't destroy his pride. I extracted value from a failing business. There's a difference. Is there? Because he died thinking he'd failed. That everything he built was worthless. It wasn't worthless. It just wasn't sustainable. Not the way he was running it. Maybe some things are worth preserving even when they're not optimal. Says the woman who fabricated an entire resume to infiltrate my company. That's different. How? Because I did it for love, for family. You do things for profit. I do things to survive, just like you. We stared at each other, the air thick with tension, unspoken things. He stood. I should go. The site visit is in 2 hours. Lucian. See you at 9. Isabella. He left, and I sat there, confused about what I was feeling, about what was happening between us. The confession. 2 months into my new role, we closed the biotech acquisition. Perfect terms, engaged founders, breakthrough potential secured. Lucian took me to dinner to celebrate. Not a business dinner, an actual restaurant, casual, intimate. To your first successful acquisition, he said, raising his glass. Our acquisition. You negotiated the final terms. After you built the relationship, that was the hard part. We talked about the deal, about future strategy. Then he asked, Are you happy? What? With the job, with working here. Are you happy? Yes, I am. You sound surprised. I am. I came here to destroy you. And instead, I'm building things, with you. It's disorienting. Do you still want to destroy me? I thought about it. Honestly. No, I wanted to destroy the monster who killed my father. But you're not a monster. You're just relentlessly pragmatic. Is that a compliment? It's an observation. And your father? Have you forgiven me for what happened? I don't know if I can forgive you, but I'm starting to understand you. That's different. Understanding is more valuable than forgiveness. Is it? Forgiveness is emotional. Understanding is practical. I prefer practical. Of course you do. He reached across the table, took my hand. Electric shock, immediate. Isabella, I need to tell you something. What? When I hired you, it was curiosity, an experiment. I wanted to see what you'd do. I know, you told me. But something changed, working with you every day. I'm watching you think, argue, build things. You're extraordinary. Lucian, let me finish. I don't do this. Relationships, personal connections. I don't have time, don't have space in my life, but you've become important. And I don't know what to do with that. My heart was racing. I think you're saying you have feelings for me. I'm saying I can't stop thinking about you. I'm saying I look forward to work for the first time in years. Not because of deals or acquisitions, because of you. This is a terrible idea. Probably. We worked together. Power dynamics, conflicts of interest. All true. And I hated you 3 months ago. Also true. But you don't hate me now? I looked at him, at this complicated, brilliant, impossible man. No, I don't hate you now. Then what do you feel? I don't know. Confused, attracted, conflicted, all of it. Is there any version of this where you'd be willing to try, to see where it goes? Try what? This, us, whatever it could become. I should have said no, should have maintained boundaries, but I didn't want to. One condition, I said. Name it. We keep it private. No one at the office knows. I won't be the woman who slept her way to director. Agreed. And if it doesn't work, we stay professional. No drama. No retaliation. Of course. And you have to tell me, honestly, did you acquire my father's company because you actually wanted the technology? Or because he refused your partnership? Lucian was quiet for a long time. Both. I wanted the patents, but I also wanted to prove a point, that refusing me was a mistake. That I could take what he wouldn't give. So it was personal. More than I wanted to admit. Your father's refusal felt like rejection, judgment, like he thought I wasn't good enough. And I spent my whole life being told I wasn't good enough. So I proved I was. By destroying him. By winning. Yes. At least he was honest. I'm still angry about that, I said. I know. I don't know if I'll ever stop being angry. I know that too. But I'm willing to try, to see if we can build something, despite everything. He stood, came around the table, pulled me to my feet. Then let's try. He kissed me, and the world shifted. The secret relationship. We agreed to keep it quiet. At the office, we were professional. Director and CEO. Nothing more. But after hours, we were something else entirely. He'd come to my apartment. I'd go to his penthouse. We'd cook together, talk, laugh, learn each other. Tell me something you've never told anyone, I said one night. We were on his balcony, overlooking the city, wine in hand. I'm terrified of failing, he admitted. Every deal, every acquisition. I'm terrified that this will be the one that proves I don't belong here. That I'm still just the poor kid pretending to be someone important. You've built a $3 billion empire. You belong. Intellectually, I know that. Emotionally, I'm still waiting for someone to expose me as a fraud. I took his hand. You're not a fraud. You're the most competent person I've ever met. Competent? That's romantic. You want romance? Fine. You're brilliant, driven, impossible, and you make me want to be better than I am. He kissed me. Your turn. Something you've never told anyone. I was relieved when my father died. The words shocked me even as I said them. What? For 3 months, I watched him deteriorate. Depression, grief. He stopped eating, stopped sleeping. He was already gone. The heart attack just made it official. And part of me was relieved that his suffering ended. That doesn't make you a bad daughter. Doesn't it? I should have fought harder, convinced him to accept your partnership offer, saved him. You couldn't have. I've seen stubborn pride. It doesn't listen to reason. Like yours? Exactly like mine. That's why I recognized it. You're not as stubborn as you think. You listen. When I push back, you actually consider it. Because you're usually right. That's infuriating, by the way. I laughed. Good, you need someone to keep you humble. I have you for that. He pulled me closer. Isabella, this thing between us, it's not just attraction. You know that, right? What is it? I don't know. But it's more than I expected, more than I planned for. Control freak Lucian Crane didn't plan for feelings? Control freak Lucian Crane doesn't know what to do with them. Figure it out. You're smart. Not about this. Business, I understand. But you're chaos. Beautiful, brilliant chaos. And I don't know how to optimize chaos. You don't optimize it. You just experience it. That sounds inefficient. It is, but that's the point. The conflict. But keeping it secret was harder than I expected. At work, we had to maintain distance. Professional emails, formal meetings, no lingering glances, Sophie noticed. "You're different," she said over coffee. "What do you mean?" "Happier, lighter. You're either in love, or you finally killed Lucian Crane and are riding the high of successful revenge." "I didn't kill him." "Then you're in love. With who?" I hesitated. "Oh my God, it's him. It's Lucian Crane." "Sophie, you're sleeping with the man who killed your father's company."
But I
He didn't kill
swear
it.
to you, I didn't tell
He
him
acquired it.
anything. You have
There's a
to
difference.
believe me.
There's no difference. Isabella, what are you doing? I don't know, trying to figure it out. Does he know who you are? What you came there to do? Yes. He's known for months. And he showed me what he did with my father's technology. He kept the facility running, hired back employees. The work continues. Under his control. Under better management. I've seen the operation. The employees are happier, better paid. The technology is being used. So you're okay with it now? With what he did? No, but I'm starting to understand why he did it. And that's complicated. Sophie grabbed my hand. "Honey, you came here to destroy this man, and now you're defending him. Do you hear yourself? I know it sounds insane. It doesn't sound insane. It sounds like Stockholm Syndrome. It's not. You're falling for your father's enemy. How is that not exactly what Stockholm Syndrome is? Because Lucian isn't holding me prisoner. I can leave any time." "Can you? Or have you convinced yourself you can't?" I pulled my hand back. "I'm not a victim, Sophie. I made choices, good and bad, but they're mine. Then choose to walk away before this destroys you the way he destroyed your father. He's not going to destroy me. He already is. You just can't see it yet." I left, angry, but her words haunted me. Was I betraying my father's memory? Was I making excuses for the inexcusable? The discovery. A week later, I was reviewing acquisition files, found something I wasn't supposed to. A new target, small manufacturing company, family-owned, struggling with debt. The strategy notes made my blood run cold. Owner refuses partnership offer. Accelerate timeline. Client poaching begins next week. Projected collapse. 6 months. It was Moretti manufacturing all over again. And systematic destruction because the owner wouldn't sell. I confronted Lucian in his office. "What is this?" I threw the file on his desk. He barely glanced at it. "A potential acquisition. You're doing it again. The same thing you did to my father. I'm making a business decision. You're destroying someone who won't give you what you want. I'm acquiring valuable assets before competitors do. It's strategic. It's cruel. This is a family business, people's lives. And they'll have better lives after we acquire. Better pay, better benefits. Just like Moretti Manufacturing. After you destroy them first. I'm not destroying them. I'm applying market pressure. If they're smart, they'll accept partnership before collapse. If not, they'll lose everything and I'll acquire the pieces. Either way, I win. This is exactly what I hated about you. This ruthless, inhuman calculation. This is business, Isabella. This is what I do, what we do. I don't do this. I build partnerships. I create value. I don't destroy people. You benefit from it. Every deal we close, every acquisition we make, you benefit from the strategy you claim to hate. He was right. I'd been complicit for 3 months, benefiting from the exact tactics that killed my father. I can't do this, I said quietly. Do what? This, us, work for you, sleep with you. Pretend I'm not betraying everything my father stood for. Your father stood for obsolete pride. You're better than that. Don't talk about him like that. Why not? It's true. He chose ego over survival, and it killed him. I won't apologize for being smarter. Smarter? Are you call destroying families smart? I call preserving value smart. I call creating better outcomes smart. Your father's 50 employees lost jobs for 6 months. Then 15 got rehired with better benefits. That's not destruction. That's evolution. What about the other 35? They found other work. The market adjusted. That's how capitalism functions. That's how you justify cruelty. That's how I built an empire that employs 5,000 people. Should I apologize for that? You should show some humanity. I show humanity by creating opportunities, by building things that last. Your father built something beautiful and unsustainable. I made it sustainable. You're welcome. I stared at him, this man I'd been falling for, this brilliant, ruthless, impossible man. And I realized Sophie was right. I'd been lying to myself. He hadn't changed. I'd just stopped seeing who he really was. We're done, I said. Isabella? Professionally and personally, I quit, effective immediately. You can't quit. You have a contract. Sue me. I don't care. I won't be complicit in this anymore. I walked to the door. You're making a mistake, he called. I turned. The mistake was thinking you could be anything other than what you are. A man who destroys things and calls it building. And you're what? Morally superior because you quit? I'm just done pretending that what you do is acceptable because you do it efficiently. I left, cleaned out my office in 20 minutes, walked out of Crane Industries, and tried not to think about the look on Lucian's face when I'd said we were done. The aftermath. I spent 2 weeks unemployed, angry, Ian heartbroken, confused. Sophie was sympathetic. You did the right thing. Then why does it feel so wrong? Because you loved him, despite everything. I didn't love him. I was attracted to him. That's different. Honey, you quit your dream job because you couldn't stomach his business tactics. That's not attraction. That's caring about his soul. Maybe she was right. Maybe I had fallen in love with the man who'd shown me late-night vulnerability, who'd admitted his fears, who'd kept my father's work alive. Not the CEO who destroyed companies without remorse, but they were the same person, and I couldn't reconcile that. My phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Ms. Moretti, this is David Chen, owner of Chen Manufacturing. I understand you used to work for Lucian Crane? My stomach dropped. How did you get this number? Mister, Crane gave it to me. Said you might be able to help. Help with what? He's trying to acquire my company, sent me partnership terms, but I don't trust him. I wanted a second opinion from someone who knows how he operates. This was a test. Lucian sending his target to me. What are the terms? I asked. David explained. Partnership structure, equity split, operational control preserved. They were fair, generous even, better than what Lucian had offered my father. These terms are good, I admitted, better than market standard. But he'll destroy me if I refuse, won't he? That's his pattern. Yes, he will. So I don't really have a choice. You have the choice my father didn't. Accept partnership on good terms, or refuse and lose everything. That's not a choice, that's extortion. It's leverage. And it's legal. David was quiet. Did he do this to your father? Yes. And what happened? My father refused, lost everything, died 6 months later. Jesus, I'm sorry. Don't be sorry, be smart. Accept the partnership. Keep operational control. Use his resources. Build something bigger. You're defending him even after what he did to your family? Was I? I'm telling you reality. Lucian Crane gets what he wants. The question is whether you lose everything fighting him or build something accepting his help. That's a depressing worldview. That's business. I hung up. Sat there, shaking. I'd just helped Lucian close a deal, after quitting specifically to avoid that. The call. 3 days later, Lucian called. Thank you, he said. For what? David Chen. He accepted the partnership. He said you advised him to. I told him the truth, that refusing you would destroy him. You could have told him to fight, to refuse, to make it harder for me. I could have, but that would have hurt him, not you. You'd win either way. At least this way, he keeps his company. You understand? Finally? I understand that you always win. That doesn't make it right. Isabella, I need to see you. No. Please. One conversation. Then if you want me gone, I'll leave you alone. I should have said no. One conversation, that's it. My office, tomorrow, 7 p.m. He hung up. The truth. I arrived at 7 p.m. The office was empty. Just Lucian. He looked exhausted, like he hadn't slept. Thank you for coming, he said. You have 20 minutes. I need to show you something. He pulled up files on his computer. Every acquisition I've made in the past year. Look at the outcomes. I scanned them. Companies acquired, most restructured, some shut down. But the employees, you rehired them, I said slowly. Not all of them, but more than half. 63%. Better salaries, better benefits. The ones I couldn't rehire, I provided severance and job placement assistance. Why? Because you were right. About preserving value. About caring what happens to people after acquisition. I didn't used to. But working with you, it changed how I see things. He pulled up more files. Chen Manufacturing. After you left, I restructured my approach. Better terms. More preservation of original operations. I'm not just extracting value anymore, I'm actually building partnerships. Because I quit? Because you made me see what I was doing. At the real cost. Not just in balance sheets, but in lives. So, you're different now? I'm trying to be. It's not natural. Every instinct tells me to optimize, extract, move on. But I keep hearing your voice. Asking about the 35 employees who didn't get rehired. The families affected. The human cost. Lucian, I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not even asking you to come back. I'm just asking you to see that I heard you, that you mattered. I sat down, processing. Why did you really acquire my father's company? I asked. He was quiet for a long time. Honestly? Honestly. Because he reminded me of my mother. Stubborn, proud, refusing help even when drowning, and I couldn't save her. She worked herself to death proving she didn't need anyone. When your father refused my partnership, all I could think was, not again. I'm not watching another stubborn person destroy themselves. So you destroyed him first? So I tried to save him by force, and failed. By the time I realized partnership wasn't going to work, I'd already started the acquisition process. Backing out would have looked weak. So I finished it. You chose pride over his life. I chose business over sentiment. Yes, and I regret it. Not because it was wrong strategically, but because it hurt you. and hurting you has been the worst business decision I ever made. My heart was breaking. I don't know what to do with this, I whispered. You don't have to do anything. I just needed you to know that you changed me, that the past 3 months with you were the best of my life, and that losing you has been worse than any business failure ever was. I can't come back. I'm not to work for you. I know. And I can't be with you, not while you're still doing acquisitions this way. Even though I'm changing isn't enough. You need to be different, fundamentally different. Then tell me how, because I don't know how to be someone other than who I am. I stood, walked to him. You start by asking, not telling, by offering partnership first. Real partnership, not coercion disguised as opportunity. That's less efficient. Humanity is inefficient. Get used to it. Will you help me? Learn how to do this differently? Not as your employee. As what? As a consultant, independent, my own firm. I'll vet your acquisitions, advise on approach, ensure you're building, not destroying. But I work for myself, not you. That's acceptable. And personally? What about personally? We start over. No power dynamics, no employer-employee, just two people trying to figure out if they can build something together. I'd like that. One condition. Always a condition with you. The family business you were targeting, Chen Manufacturing. You give David better terms, full operational control. You're investor only, no forced integration. That's expensive. That's the price of me giving you another chance. He considered. Done. Anything else? Yes. You visit the Moretti facility. Meet the employees. Learn their names. Understand that they're not variables. They're people. I can do that. And one more thing. What? You take a vacation. Actual time off. 2 weeks. No work. No emails. You learn to be human. That sounds terrible. That's the point. You need to remember what life is beyond acquisitions and balance sheets. Will you come with me? On this hypothetical vacation? Maybe, if you prove you can actually stop working for 2 weeks. I've never stopped working for 2 weeks in my life. Then you're overdue. He pulled me close. Isabella, I know I don't deserve this, another chance. But I swear I'll do better. Be better. For you. Not for me, for yourself. Be better because you want to be, not because I'm asking. What if I want to be better because of you? Is that allowed? I guess we'll find out. He kissed me. And for the first time in weeks, I felt like maybe this could actually work. The vacation. 2 months later, we were in Italy. Lucian had fought me on the vacation, argued, negotiated, but eventually agreed. 2 weeks, no laptop, phone only for emergencies. He'd lasted 3 days before having a complete breakdown. How do people do this? He asked on day 4. We were in Tuscany, vineyard view, beautiful. He was miserable. Do what? Nothing. We've done nothing for 3 days. We toured Florence. We ate at that amazing restaurant. We walked through vineyards. That's not doing something, that's existing. Welcome to being human. We exist. I hate it. I feel useless. You're not useless. You're just not working. There's a difference. I don't know how to be a person who doesn't work. I took his hand. Then learn. We have 11 more days. By day 7, something shifted. He stopped checking his phone every 5 minutes. Started actually tasting wine instead of just drinking it. Laughed. This is weird, he said. What? I'm relaxed. My shoulders don't hurt. I slept 8 hours last night. That's called being healthy. You should try it more often. I forgot what it felt like to not be thinking about the next deal, the next acquisition. And it's terrifying, but also nice. We visited small towns, ate too much pasta, walked for hours, and talked about everything. His childhood, my father, what we wanted from life. I don't know what I want, Lucian admitted one night. We were on a terrace, stars overhead, wine in hand. From what? Everything. I spent 15 years building an empire, proving I belonged. And now I have it, and I don't know what the point was. The point was surviving, thriving, building something that matters. But does it matter? Really? I acquire companies, restructure them, extract value, and then what? I die and someone else takes over? What was the point of any of it? Maybe the point isn't the empire. Maybe it's the impact, the employees with better lives, the technology that helps people. Or maybe I was just running from poverty, from feeling worthless, and I built all of this to prove I wasn't. And? Are you? Worthless? He looked at me. I was, before you. You're the first thing I've built that actually feels valuable. I'm not a thing you built. No, but we are. This, us. And it's the only thing I've ever created that makes me feel like maybe I matter for reasons beyond net worth. You matter beyond net worth. You just forgot that. Teach me to remember. The return. We came back to New York different. Not fixed, not perfect, but changed. Lucian restructured Crane Industries, created a partnership division, focused on building companies, not just acquiring them, made me head of it. You're sure? I asked. You're the only person I trust to do this right. I'm expensive. My consulting rates are ridiculous. Worth it. We ran it together. True partners. And when acquisitions came up, we evaluated them differently. Could we preserve jobs, enhance value, build something better? If not, we passed. It was less profitable. At first, but long-term, it built something better. Companies that wanted to work with us, founders who trusted us. We weren't just corporate raiders anymore. We were actually building things. The facility visit. 6 months after Italy, Lucian kept his promise. We visited the Moretti facility. He met every employee, learned names, asked about their work. Mr. Moretti's daughter, one of the original workers said, "Your father would be proud. What we're building here." Would he? I asked. The work continues, better funded, helping more people. Isn't that what he wanted? I think so. Yeah. Lucian pulled me aside afterward. Thank you for making me do this. Do what? See them as people, not variables. It's harder, more complicated, but better. You're learning. Slowly. The proposal. 1 year after our first date, Lucian took me to the Moretti facility, after hours, empty. Why are we here? I asked. Because this is where it started. Your father's legacy, our story, everything. He led me to the office. My father's old office. It looked different, updated, but still familiar. On the desk, blueprints, my father's original designs, and next to them, new designs, innovations, improvements. I've been working with the team, Lucian said. Improving your father's technology, making it better. We're filing new patents in Marco Moretti's name. What? He deserves credit for the foundation, for the innovation that made everything else possible. So I'm retroactively filing patents in his name. Moretti Technology, not Crane. Tears filled my eyes. Why? Because you were right. Names matter, legacy matters, and your father's legacy deserves to be honored, not erased. Lucian, there's more. He took my hand. I'm renaming this facility, the Moretti Innovation Center, and I'm offering you a stake. 50% ownership, not as my employee, as my partner. You're giving me half of this facility? I'm giving you what should have been yours all along. If your father had accepted partnership, you would have inherited equity. Unless this corrects that. This is worth tens of millions. This is worth your forgiveness, or at least the possibility of it. I looked at the blueprints, the facility, everything my father had built, alive, thriving, honored. I forgive you, I whispered. What? I forgive you for what happened to my father, for the acquisition, for all of it. You've proven you can be better. You are better. He pulled out a small box. Oh, God. Isabella Moretti, I don't deserve you. I'm still learning how to be the man you see in me. But I want to spend the rest of my life trying. Will you marry me? I should have said it was too fast, too complicated. Instead, I said, yes. 2 years later, the Moretti Innovation Center was thriving. 75 employees, breakthrough medical technology, saving lives, and my father's name on every patent. Lucian had changed, truly changed. Not because I demanded it, but because he wanted to. He still worked hard, still drove everyone crazy with his standards. But he also took weekends off, learned to cook, spent time just existing. We built Crane Industries into something different. Not just acquisition, but partnership, innovation, impact. And people stopped seeing Lucian Crane as a corporate raider. They saw him as a builder. We got married in the facility, where my father had worked. Small ceremony, close friends, employees who'd known my father. It felt right, honoring the past while building the future. Do you think he would have approved? Lucian asked. We were dancing. First dance as husband and wife. My father? Yes. I thought about it. I think he would have hated you at first. Your tactics. Your ruthlessness. And later? Later, I think he would have respected what you became. What we built together. That's good enough for me. Is it? Just good enough? It's everything. Your respect, your love, your partnership. I traded an empire for this, and I'd do it again. You didn't trade anything. You still have your empire. I have something better. I have you. I have meaning. I have a legacy that matters. Sentimental Lucian Crane. Who knew? I blame you entirely. Good. Someone had to teach you to be human. You're taking credit for my personal growth? Absolutely. It's my greatest achievement. He kissed me. And you're mine. We danced, surrounded by people we'd helped. Technology that saved lives, a legacy honored. I'd come to Crane Industries to destroy Lucian. Instead, I'd saved him. And he'd saved me. From a revenge that would have consumed me. From a hatred that would have destroyed everything. We'd built something better, together. Not perfect, but real. And that was enough. The end.